I have to say I'm chuckling this morning. The EV mouthpieces, they must have their head in their hands. They're trying their best to pretend they're happy with the government's new EV advertising campaign. God, but it's awful. Honestly, the sales prevention department has come up with a fantastic video. It appeals to the people who've already got EVs, not to the people who haven't and who actually like driving. It's almost like a reaffirmation. It's not to try and get new customers. It's just trying to make the people who've already bought one think, oh, well, perhaps I did make the right decision. That guy looks like me on the TV.
It completely took me by surprise. Just kind of went off really smoothly.
Yeah, it's great actually. I can get from London to Sheffield on a single charge. For like a £5.
I just plug in and go in. It's easy. Neighbours liked it so much they got one too.
Switch to an EV and get that electric feeling.
I can't believe anybody will be happy with it. But here we go. Dan Cesar on his LinkedIn page from Electric Vehicles UK, fully charged and everything electric. CEO, world leading electric home and motor expo organiser. So, you know, I think we can safely say that he's an EVer. At last, question mark, EV advertising campaign. What a time to be alive. EV sales on the up, an electric car grant, and now government is encouraging that electric feeling as its campaign goes live. A stark contrast to some countries we might mention. Well, we're in the UK, so like everybody else, Dan. We've advocated for communications campaigns on EV for many years, and while this may stop short of the educational and experiential activities that Electric Vehicles UK envisages, is really required to turn misinformation brainwashed, doubters to believers. You see, there you go again, Dan. You can't help yourself. You're just like all the other EV mouthpieces. It can't be that you don't think an EV is suitable for your needs. It's because you've believed misinformation and you're brainwashed. You just can't help yourself. Honestly, the sooner you people shut up, the sooner EVs will start to sell on their own accord. We wholeheartedly support this activity, which along with the electric car grant will nudge big numbers towards their first EV, bribe people into buying them. This advert won't do anything. It's shite. Honestly, I'm not just saying this. I look at that advert and I think it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. You show that to one of your customers that you want to try and convert into an EV, and you'll just make them want a petrol or diesel car more. It's that bad. They've done the usual thing. They've asked the wrong people. They've asked the people who already have EVs and are already in that ilk to make an advert. It's shocking. Our business, both EV UK and parent Everything Electric, will amplify via our YouTube channels and test drive tastic exhibitions in hashtag Harrogate, hashtag Cheltenham and hashtag Twickenham. We were invited to M+C Saatchi Group for a sneak peek at the new campaign and heard from Kia Mather, Richard Bruce CBE and Department for Transport, DFT, United Kingdom, as they underlined there's never been a better time to buy an electric car, new or used, then unveiled a bold multi-channel campaign to give Britain that electric feeling. Hashtag cheap, better, battery electric. And Dan, what did you do? Did you do what I did at a Mercedes-Benz meeting when everybody else was nodding? And I said, that's shite. Did you? Because it is. EV advert for yes men. creative partner Guy Bradbury reminded us of the need to be distinctive, humorous. It's not humorous, it's cringeworthy. It's awful. It makes a laughing stock of EV owners. And memorable to achieve cut-through. Only 4% of advertising is positively remembered, and the creative certainly achieves that. Okay, you can remember something and think, yeah, that's good, I want one. Or you can remember something and think, that's a shit advert. And that's all you remember it for. Not for the content, just for its pathetic content, setting, scripting, actors, actresses, and storyline. Colin Walker, Head of Transport at the Energy and Climate Intelligence Unit, hashtag. Good to see the UK government launch a new EV campaign, Get That Electric Feeling, to encourage the uptake of electric vehicles and raise awareness of their benefits. To certain people, I agree, they have benefits. The majority, they don't. Given all the misinformation about EVs doing the rounds, which our own research has shown is undermining the accuracy of people's understanding of EVs and holding them back from making the shift, seeing the government take a proactive step towards addressing it is to be welcomed. Well, it's not, is it really? I mean, for a start, you look at the replies here. There we go, usual suspect Gary Comeover. Like you, I've advocated for public service announcements to combat the disinformation coming from certain quarters. This isn't that, but it does start the conversation about EVs for the 90% of people who've never sat in one. Here's my reply to Colin. I bet you're fuming that they have chosen to discriminate against the follically challenged amongst us in this advert and are deliberately ostracising 66% of men suffering from hair loss from EV ownership. I hope you get them to retract this advert and go and buy yourself a V8 in protest. Right, so the UK government has launched a brand new EV advertising campaign today, 19th of January 2026, called Get That Electric Feeling.
Kind of went off really smoothly.
Apparently, according to them, now is the time to go electric. Of course it is, because if there's one thing you can always rely on, it's the UK government and government departments spending your money to advertise something to you that they claim is your choice. And the headline message is simple. You can save up to £1,400 a year. Now, according to Auto Trader, it's £1,500. According to the Climate Intelligence Unit, it's £1,600 and £2,600 on an Audi e-tron that drops about £4,000 a month. So they can't even get the ducks in a row on that. So what metrics are they all using? You could save up to £1,400 a year and you've got access to a growing charging network of 87,000 charge points. So let's just stop there. We're only one sentence in and already we've got two of the biggest marketing tricks in the book. Number one, up to. So up to £1,400 is the maximum you're going to save. As I've shown you in previous videos, one of the better EV retailers reduced a Tesla by £2,200 in 1 month. And the day this campaign came out, they reduced it by another £800. How can you save £1,400 on a vehicle that's dropped £3,000 in over a month? Absolute tripe. Up to £1,400, which is government speak for. You might save £1,400, you might save £400, you might save £40, or you might save absolutely nothing at all, and you might actually lose thousands and thousands of pounds on your vehicle, like all the leasing companies have. Thousands. They don't even charge them. They rent them out to an end user. They can't make any money on just the product. They can't save any money. They lose money on just the product. They don't even use it. They buy it, let somebody else use it, get it back, sell it. They can't save money. It is impossible to save money on an EV at this moment in time. So it depends completely on whether you can charge at home. Just that claim, the saving, depends completely on whether you can charge at home. What tariff you're on. If you don't mind charging overnight when your family's asleep, and there's been cases of vehicles that are charging, setting on fire, burning people's houses down. So you can save up to £1,400 a year on an EV if you don't mind putting your family at risk of being cremated in the beds every single night you charge it. How much you drive, and whether you're forced onto public charging. Where the prices can be, well, let's just say, not exactly bargain basement, not 7p per kilowatt, more like 85p per kilowatt. Number 2, 87,000 charge points. Well, that's brilliant. I've got a question. How many of those 87,000 are rapid chargers? There's some at our local cinemas, and they take hours. How many are slow lamppost chargers? How many are out of order? As I say, I went into Preston the other week. There's 4 double chargers. 3 of the double chargers were out of order. There was 1 free space. Only 1 charger working in Winkley Square. Fortunately. I only need 1. The same place. People with ICE vehicles park there. There's always work going on along the houses there. Workmen with vans are often parked in a charging space, so you can't get to it. How many are in car parks that shut at 8 o'clock? How many are available, but you need 3 different apps, 2 verification codes, a blood sample, and a direct debit to use them? I signed up to one, BP Pulse. I was desperate to charge my vehicle, and I had to sign up there and then. It would not accept my application. In the end, it took me over an hour to phone them and to go through it and do it manually before I could actually charge, by which time I'd gone home and decided to risk running out of electric on the way home. Because 87,000 exists is not the same thing as 87,000 work when you need them to. Then the press release goes on to say this campaign is their latest move to back British industry and boost EV demand, sending a clear signal that there's never been a better time to switch. Now, I really love their honesty there, because the key words are boost demand. Boost demand. Why? You don't have to boost demand when demand is naturally exploding, do you? Well, do you? You boost demand when demand isn't doing what you want it to do. And that tells you everything you need to know right there. Then they say, this launch follows over 50,000 drivers already making the move thanks to the electric car grant, which provides discounts of up to £3,750 on a new EV. So again, up to. And again, the admission's in the wording. Thanks to the grant. So what they're actually saying is People are buying EVs when we discount them. That's not proof that the public have fallen in love with EVs. It's proof that EV demand is heavily only driven by incentives, discounts, grants, and nudges in the right direction. Then it says drivers are being encouraged to make the switch when they purchase their next car and save thousands in the process. Now, full disclosure, EVs can save certain drivers money. If you've got a driveway, home charging, an overnight tariff that you don't mind putting your family at risk, predictable mileage, well, fantastic. But here's the part of the story that gets completely buried. And I mean completely buried. Depreciation. No mention of that anywhere. Used values. Residual values. Because you can save £1,400 a year on fuel and maintenance. Well, maintenance. Well, the lease deals that Auto Trader put on every page that you advertise on, the Autorama or Vanarama leasing quotes, the service contracts are exactly the same price as the petrol ones. This is not me exaggerating or cherry picking. This is the bit the government never wants to talk about. No people in the EV world want to talk about it. They shove it under the carpet. They never mention it because depreciation doesn't make a nice advert, does it? You can't make a happy slogan out of EV depreciation. Get that electric feeling. Get that depreciation feeling. You can't run a TV campaign that says, buy this EV and watch its residuals collapse like an MFI wardrobe. So instead, they focus on fuel savings, maintenance savings, and charge points. Then the press release says this campaign is going across TV, radio, and digital outlets. And it highlights how drivers can save up to £3,750 through the grant and up to £1,400 a year on fuel and maintenance. And they've got access to the charging networks. So in one paragraph, we've got discount, fuel savings, maintenance savings, charging network. Job done. Boxed off. Except it isn't job done, is it? It's not boxed off. Because if you're going to educate the public, and that's what your job is, to combat misinformation, why are you leaving out the single biggest financial risk many buyers face? All buyers face, not many, all. And that risk is, what happens to the value of the car? Because in the used market, the thing that kills confidence is not, can I save £12 on fuel this week? It's, am I going to be 10,000 quid upside down on my finance in 12 months? Then they come out with the proper political bit. They say the campaign is backing British industry, boosting demand, giving manufacturers and supply chains confidence to invest, supporting skilled jobs, driving economic growth, and delivering renewal that people can feel in their everyday lives. Now I'm going to translate that into Barry speak. The truth. This campaign is not really about you. It's about the industry hitting targets. Targets that the government who has made this advert set. Staying confident and keeping the transition moving. Fine, that might be a policy goal. But just be honest about it. You can't claim it's purely about helping drivers save money, while quietly admitting it's about propping up demand so manufacturers keep investing. And you hit the stupidly unachievable targets that you set the motor trade. The next paragraph says, charging will become even easier because they're rolling out 100,000 additional chargers over the coming years. Well, that will please a certain part of the community and also the scrap dealers with all the copper charging leads that will be coming in daily. And they're reforming planning rules so residents without driveways can install home charging more easily and cheaply. Everywhere else in the world they're banning EVs from underground car parking and certain places. And in the UK you can now put a charging point in without getting planning permission. That's how thick the people in charge at the UK are. They won't have them in the Houses of Parliament, but somebody can put one in an underground car park or right next to your house, not in the Houses of Parliament. And that's basically because they know that an EV charger, one EV charger, could succeed where Guy Fawkes and his gang failed. They know it very well, but you don't matter. They matter, but you don't. Charging can be as little as 2p per mile. Right, 2p per mile. Now technically yes, you can charge for very little money if you charge at home and if you're on a cheap tariff. If you charge overnight, without obviously doing what one insurance company suggests, you keep an eye on your car while it's charging, unless you sit outside and watch it. If you don't rely on public charging, and if you don't live in a flat, and if you don't park on the street, and if you don't have any of the real world problems that millions of drivers have. We actually bought a Jaguar I-Pace EV a couple of years ago, and when we went to pick it up, the guy lived in a fantastic house. He'd got his main building, kind of a barn conversion, and then he'd got separate garages, detached garages. And then he had a bit of a drive. At the end of the drive, and this drive had obviously been made, the barn conversion's there, the garage is there, the drive comes in like so, like that, into the garages or up to the house, and then there's another drive here. At the end of the drive, near his lawn area, there was a charger. Why do you think he put his charger there? Why do you think he didn't charge his EV next to his barn conversion or in his beautiful... I could have lived in his detached garages. It was like another house. But he had a drive laid and an EV charger there with nothing round it. Just basically a lawn. Why do you think he did that? So it's a bit like saying you can heat your home for £2 a day. Yes, if you live in a well-insulated place the size of a shoebox and never turn the heating on. 2p per mile is a best case figure. It's as cheap as 2p per mile, but what can it be? If this is all about educating people, give them the best cost, perhaps an average, and the worst case scenario. 2p per mile is a best case figure, but it's being presented as a realistic everyday experience. Let's be honest, that's where intelligent people switch off, isn't it? The way they've worded that, it's a trap, because the public aren't stupid. They know the difference between an advert and reality. Then we get the Minister, Aviation, Maritime and Decarbonisation Minister, Keir Mather. I didn't see anything about cars there, but he's come out and said over 50,000 drivers have made savings of up to £3,750 off a new EV and £1,400 a year on running costs. And the campaign is here to show millions of Brits the benefits of making the switch, which could save their family budget thousands. Could. Another keyword. Could. Not will, could. Because it could save you thousands. but it could also cost you thousands if you buy the wrong EV at the wrong time with the wrong depreciation curve. Not could, will. It will cost you thousands. It will cost you thousands anyway. Not could, will. It will cost you thousands if you buy an EV. Then he says, with over 87,000 public chargers across the UK and thousands more on the way, our message is clear. Going electric has never been easier. And under this government, you can save thousands when you do. You can save thousands. Needs to be a court challenge there. Can. Again, never been easier. Depends entirely on who you are. If you're a homeowner with a driveway, yes. If you're street parking in Preston, Blackpool, Manchester, London, then it's a totally different story. Then he says, the evidence is clear. Once drivers go electric, they don't go back. That's not clear evidence. The clear evidence I see, the clear evidence that you can check, is on the private to trade auctions every single day, day in, day out, year in, year out. There are plenty of people swapping back from ICE cars. There are plenty of people distressed selling their EVs after days, weeks, months. There's EVs less than 12 months old with 3 owners on. Why do you think that is? Why do you think somebody, a few months into 120, that person intended to keep that car for 10 years? Why do you think he has sold it a few months into a 10-year finance contract that will cost him a fortune to get out? Why do you think people sell after a couple of months on 48 months agreements? Why do you think people come out of PCPs which will cost them money unless they save it right until the last month of the contract and they hand it back? They will have to put money to the finance agreement to get out of that EV. The evidence isn't clear that once drivers go electric, they don't go back. I would say that there is more evidence, more actual, tangible, physical evidence that you can see, I can show you. I can't show you these people's surveys, and I don't know the questions they ask. I've got an idea what sort of questions they ask, and I've got an idea what sort of people they ask. They ask people who are happy with their EV. They don't ask people who weren't happy with their EV why they've sold it. And those are the people we need to learn from. The evidence is not clear. That is a lie. The evidence is clear. It is not. And to be honest, this is where I just start laughing. Because of course, people who were the perfect use case are happy. People who've got a driveway, home charging, and the money to do it properly, like put a charger in the middle of your garden just in case your EV catches fire. There's no doubt there are people out there who love their EVs, and judging by the vitriol that comes from them, they think you should love them. If they love them, they think you should. And if you don't, then they think there's something wrong with you. That's their mentality. So that's fine, but that doesn't mean it works for everyone. And it definitely doesn't mean people don't go back. Because I speak to people all the time who tried an EV, who've got one through work, and they are fed up. And quietly, they return to petrol, diesel or hybrid. Some of them even opted out of the company car scheme because the company car scheme would only let them have an EV. It was taking up their family time. Some even had to go out at night to charge, to sit there charging the vehicle so that they'd got enough charge to get the place they were going the next day. Those people didn't take out a press release, did they? They just got rid of it and then got on with their lives. Like my girlfriend says, children get colds, men get flu, women get on with it. That's what ICE drivers do. They don't waste the time looking in the rear view and telling EV owners that they're wrong. They just get back to their ICE car and love it. Then the government says the push comes as they've helped over 50,000 drivers buy an EV through the grant. And it's supported record EV sales recently, with 1 in 4 of all new car sales now electric. Now again, that sounds massive, but what they don't tell you or explain is that the new car market is not the same as the used car market. New car registrations are heavily influenced by fleet, salary sacrifice, benefit in kind, manufacturers' targets, tactical registrations, discounting, and compliance pressure to meet the ZEV mandate. So 1 in 4 is not automatically proof that the average private buyer has embraced electric vehicles. It's proof that the system's set up to push that number. Then they proudly announce the campaign will be everywhere. Broadcast video on demand, connected TV, radio, podcasts, digital audio, plus out-of-home advertising at petrol stations, shopping centres, motorway service areas, roadside, digital display, social media, and influencers, partnerships, like the Full of Shit show and the Climate Disinformation Unit. So basically, you won't be able to breathe without being told, have you considered an EV? Bit like Auto Trader, every month you get an email off them about EVs. Now I don't know about you, but if I needed that much advertising to convince you something was a good idea, I'd start wondering why it isn't selling itself. Then we have Ian Plummer from Auto Trader saying, almost 2/3 of buyers are now considering electric vehicles. And reinforcement of the benefits is key to ensure consideration translates into buying. Again, that sentence right there, that's the story. They're considering, but they're not buying. And if they're not buying, that means there are barriers stopping them buying. And the barriers are not misinformation. They're not that the buyers aren't educated. What the barriers are cost, depreciation, uncertainty, charging realities, resale risk, public charging costs, convenience, lifestyle fit. Those aren't myths. Those are practical concerns for intelligent people. Then Ian Plummer says, electric cars are a great option for many drivers, and 9 in 10 who've already made the switch say they won't go back. So many drivers, I'd question many drivers, and again, people who already switched are not the full population. That's like saying 9 in 10 people who bought a hot tub say they love it. Yeah, because they've got a garden, the money to run it, and they made it work. But it doesn't mean everyone else should rush out and do the same. Actually, that's a bad example, 9 in 10. Trust me, hot tubs, 10 out of 10. Then we get Dominic Finn from Climate Group saying, the UK is a frontrunner in a global race. Now, I'm a big patriot, but whenever the UK is the frontrunner in a global race, it's because nobody else wants to win. If EVs were a good idea, trust me, Sha'Carri Richardson would be way out in front and she'd be selling them.
For like 10 10.92. That's the fastest time we've seen so far this morning.
But myths and misinformation are holding the nation back. Okay, right. So basically, if you've got concerns about buying an EV, you're misinformed. If you ask about depreciation, you're part of the misinformation campaign. If you question the charger reality, you're misinforming again. If you point out that EV sales are only incentive driven, you're misinformation. That's the new trick, isn't it? With these people, when they can't answer the question, they label the question. Misinformation. Then Climate Group says we need a bigger perception shift in the population to keep driving the transition. Translation, we need the public to change their minds, which again proves this isn't just people choosing EVs. This is a campaign to modify behaviour. Then Motability comes in saying through the Motability scheme, they're helping disabled people switch to EVs. Have you ever seen that? There's an old lady at the side of the road, and this guy goes and helps her across the road, stops the traffic, gets her to the other side of the road.
May I escort you across the street and through the traffic, please? Madam, it was a pleasure to be of service to you.
You dope! I didn't want to cross the street.
Well, the thing is, she didn't want to go to the other side of the road. Do these disabled people want to switch to an EV? Are they the right sort of people to be influencing? Should you influence them in a way that perhaps doesn't suit them? And if you do, what type of person are you? If you took somebody up with something that doesn't suit their needs because you benefit from them, what type of person are you? And nearly 9 in 10 would choose an EV again. And I'll say this genuinely, if Motability is helping people do it successfully, that's great. But Motability is a structured scheme. It's a supported environment. They basically cash their Motability pension in for a car. They swap the monthly allowance for a car, or part of it, or perhaps I think in some cases they have to put money too. Recently to be fair, you could buy virtually anything, and recently I think they're trying to stop that because people were taking the mickey out of it. That's not the same thing as a private buyer walking into a dealership, risking the savings, taking a finance agreement and hoping the used values don't fall through the floor. It's been a long time coming, but here's my conclusion. This government press release, basically one big advertisement dressed up as public information. It's full of up to savings. It's full of big impressive numbers. It's full of feel-good testimonials. And it's full of carefully chosen voices from government, Auto Trader, Climate Group and Motability. All reinforcing the same message, switch now. But it avoids the one truth that scares private buyers more than anything else: electric vehicle depreciation. Because until they address used values, until they stop crushing the used market with aggressive discounting on new vehicles, until charging becomes genuinely simple for everyone, and until they stop labelling honest concerns as misinformation, the public will keep doing what they're doing. They'll consider, they'll hesitate, they'll wait, and then they'll buy a nice car. And the government can run as many slogans as it likes, but you can't market your way out of reality. Sorry it was a long one, but that advert was just shite. It had to be done. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.